What you are about to hear is an exclusive interview with renowned financial and business expert, investor, business owner, educator, and author of more than 10 best-selling books, Robert Kiyosaki. Born and raised in Hawaii, Robert learned about business from two people: his poor dad, a highly educated, highly paid government employee who was his real father, and his rich dad, the multimillionaire 8th grade dropout father of his best friend. The lifelong financial problems experienced by his poor dad reinforced Robert's rich dad's teachings that the poor and the middle class work for money, but the rich have money work for them. After becoming a top salesman for Xerox, Robert followed his passion to become financially free. He developed several multi-million-dollar international businesses and was able to retire at the age of 47 to pursue his passion of teaching others to become rich and find their perfect business. In 1997, Robert wrote his first international best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which to date has sold more than 20 million copies worldwide. J.P. Morgan, on the cover of the Wall Street Journal, declared the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad a must-read for millionaires. And USA Today called the book a starting point for anyone looking to gain control of their financial future. Robert then wrote other bestsellers, including Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Kid, Smart Kid, Retire Young, Retire Rich, and The Business School for people who like helping people. He also designed the patented board game Cash Flow 101. Robert Kiyosaki's message is clear. Take responsibility for your finances or take orders all your life. You're either a master of money or a slave to it. And now, for the first time in this exclusive interview, Robert reveals his choice of the perfect business to retire young, retire rich.
Robert, thank you for joining us. Obviously, millions of people have benefited from the knowledge that they've gotten from your books, from tapes. But for those people who have not read Rich Dad, Poor Dad or Cash Flow Quadrant, could you just explain a little bit about what the cash flow quadrant is? I know that if you imagine in your mind a plus sign, the quadrant on the upper left-hand side, there's an E. Beneath that, there's an S. On the right side, there's a B and then an I. Could you basically explain what these mean?
Well, first of all, E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed or small business. B stands for big business like Microsoft, Intel, things like that. And I stands for investor. My poor dad, and most of us have had it, that says go to school and get a job. My poor dad was programming me for the E quadrant: job security, work hard, pension, benefits. The S quadrant is oftentimes where the doctors, lawyers, or small business guys go, the guys that want to do it on their own. So they always say, if you want it done right, do it by yourself. And they often become S's. They want independence. The big business, the B quadrant, is where guys like Bill Gates, they form these huge multinational corporations. There are very few of them. They're the richest people in the world. So the richest people in the world come from the B quadrant, although you can become rich in the E and the S. And the I quadrant are the investors. And the investor is basically somebody who purely has his or her money working for them. My poor dad and my poor mom trained me to become E's and S's. And the school system trains you to become E's and S's: job security, play it safe. The B and the I side is for the rich. And my rich dad said, if you want to be rich, mind your own business.
And you say in your book that most E's, or employees, when they are ready to start their own businesses, actually gravitate towards the S quadrant. They start their own small business, maybe as a contractor or a freelancer. Is that the wrong way?
Well, it's not that right or wrong. Is that a lot of people say, I don't do my own thing. So they migrate from the E and they go to the S. And S stands for cycle end, in my opinion, because everybody picks on you. The government picks on you. You spend one day a week just in tax compliance. Your employees pick on you. And then you never have any free time because if you don't work, your income stops. So it's probably one of the hardest positions, yet it is probably where most of the people are. The small businesses of America as well as the world is really the engine. But very few of them ever get rich, and they work and work and work. The difference between an S and a B is if an S stops working, small business person, their income stops. But if a B stops, their income keeps going. And so which one is better? I'd say the B quadrant is far better. So my rich dad trained me to be a B and an I. And he trained me to be an I playing Monopoly. We all know the formula: 4 greenhouses, red hotel, 4 greenhouses, red hotel. So it was a difference points of view. And for, like I said, people who are looking for changes, it's a great way to change.
So what then, in your opinion, stops the average person from starting a real B business?
The trouble is most people cannot afford to build one. It takes 5, 10 years to build one. And the failure rate is 90% in the first 5 years. And to build a B business, I mean, right now it costs me about $5 million a year just to build it. And if you fail, then you owe all that money, and a lot of people go bankrupt. And I failed twice. I didn't go bankrupt, but it cost me millions of dollars. And it means basically 10 years without taking a paycheck a lot of the times. So most E's and S's really don't have the mental, emotional, and financial stamina to handle that. And they don't know how to go to the I, to the stock market for an IPO or something like this. They've just not been trained to do it. So if you want to build a business, the one way is to start it on your own, which I've done several times in my lifetime. I have my manufacturing, I have a real estate company, I have mining, I have oil companies and things like this, but I've been trained to do that. But if you don't have that, then you can start a franchise. Like McDonald's is a good franchise. The trouble is it costs you $1 million to start, and then you still don't make money for a couple of years on top of it. And then the third one that's come along, which I think is an information age B quadrant business, is network marketing. And a lot of people have a negative, and I'm not in network marketing, but people say, well, what network marketing? I have a bad word for it. That's because they really don't understand the richest people in the world build networks. For instance, that's why it's called a television network. So the richest people own television networks, a telephone network, a network of service stations. But my rich dad used to say to me, the rich build networks, everybody else looks for work. And it depends on your training. So network marketing to me is a brilliant way for a person to get in with low costs and, spend 5 years with some sweat equity and things, actually building a very big asset that can set you financially free. The trouble is most people, because they're into intermediate gratification, don't really have the determination and the stamina to stick it out. Plus, many times they have friends who have these negative ideas on network marketing. And I must admit, like I said, I didn't make my money in network marketing. I started my own businesses. And I had negative ideas until I started to realize if I opened my mind and changed some of the ways I look at things and stopped listening to my cheap and tacky friends, I might see the value of a network marketing business. The network marketing business is a way for the average guy without much money to keep their daytime job and really build an asset that sets them free.
I don't think most people would consider network marketing, though, to be a real business.
Well, how would the average E&S know what a real business is anyway? Because they're either employees of one or they're struggling, they own a job if they're self-employed. I just like to cut to the chase right now and get into it, because the reason I'm here doing this tape with you is to talk about the changes that I see coming and why you need to change. I hear people saying today, let's get back to normal. Well, I want to ask you, what the heck is normal? What the heck are we talking about today? So I'm trying to say to people, this world is changing, and the reason it's changing is very simply because we have allowed bullies to bully people around. I want my freedom. The reason I was in the B quadrant is because I'm fighting for my freedom, my own sanity. And when you say, what does freedom mean to me? It means I have more choices. If you're in the E and the S quadrant, you've given up a lot of your freedom. In the E quadrant, somebody tells you how much money you make, when you come to work, when can you take a break, when do you eat lunch, when can you go home, when do you get a pay raise? And worst of all, this idea of job security today, if the company is mismanaged or it gets in trouble, they just downsize you. So what you've done is when you look at the world today, the world is full of bullies. And I look at that, and that you don't have to look too far. I look right across the street. I find them in business every day. I find people trying to push me around. The main reason I'm in the B quadrant is I don't want to be pushed around by people. I don't want somebody telling me how much money I can make or whether I have a job tomorrow or not. So what I fought for in Vietnam was for freedom. And that freedom takes courage. It takes strength. And the thing that's happening right now, I see some people getting weaker. Oh my God, what's happening to the world? And they get weaker. Well, you're going to fall behind. Today is about getting stronger. And one of the things both my dads taught me was to be strong, not to be tough, not to be a bully. In other words, if I punch a bully, I become a bully. Today, if you want to succeed and be in the B quadrant, you need to be mentally, emotionally, and ethically tough inside, strong, and you need to be smart. My poor dad was a tough man, but financially he was not smart. That's why when he got fired at age 50, he got weaker and weaker. He wanted his job back. Please give me my high-paying job back. And what I say to people today is this: the world has changed. If you want to become successful, get stronger, get the education. That's what the B quadrant requires. The reason I'm a successful businessman is I don't let people push me around. That doesn't mean I'm a bully. It means I don't let people push me around. So what I'm saying to you today is that, there's a bullies out in the international world, but there's bullies right next to you. It's called your boss or your supervisor or somebody right in front of you who's telling you how to run your life. So the more security you need, the less freedom you have.
I mean, I think you agree. I see people go to work every day. They sit next to somebody in a cubicle that they hate.
Right.
They hate.
And they hate their job, and they hate the money they're getting paid. They stay there, though.
What do you say to that person?
You're getting weak, man. And I heard people on television, complaining about the downsides. I really need a job. I need the money. If you're needy, you're weak. And the more you need that, the weaker you get. The wonderful thing about network marketing, it gives you this chance for just a few dollars, let's say $500, you have a chance to build some self-confidence. Keep your daytime job, but get stronger. If you want to be successful in network marketing, the most important thing, the reason I recommend it, take 3, 4, 5 years, but what you really are doing is getting education and getting stronger. Because both my dads were strong, honorable men. The trouble is my poor dad didn't have the education, and he didn't really have the fortitude to stay out in the B quadrant. In other words, when he got, my poor dad, the school teacher, got fired at age 50 because he ran for governor of the state of Hawaii. And if you think politics is nice and kind and happy, happy camp, it's not. There are a bunch of bullies in politics. And because my dad had the audacity to run against his boss, the governor, says you'll never get a job in the state of Hawaii again. And my dad never got tough enough to fight back. And what I'm trying to say here is this: if you want to be successful today, the best thing about network marketing, not all of them, but some of the companies are the best B quadrant education possible, but it's mental, emotional, and core. There's this toughness. You don't care what other people say or think of you. You don't let people push you around. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're weak today, you're giving up your freedom. If you're weak today, people will bully you around. Oh, sir, can I keep my job? Oh, sir, can I get a pay raise? Oh, sir, can I take 2 hours off because my kid is sick? I mean, what kind of wimp is that? He says you're not going to become successful in the B quadrant if you're asking permission all the time. You're so afraid what somebody else is going to think of you. I mean, just the other day, I was negotiating with this guy. He was pushing me around with his attorney, and I sit there going, I can't let this happen to me. So you don't need to go to the Middle East to find bullies. You got them right next door to you every single day. Your supervisor, your boss, your coworkers want to push you around. Well, network marketing provides the mentorship, the training, the spiritual means just the toughness, so that you get strong enough so you can withstand the rigors of the B quadrant. And that's why I speak and I say it's a great training program.
One thing that you talk about in the books is dreaming, and I think it's my opinion that the guy in the cubicle who's been there 15 years doesn't have any dreams. His dream is maybe get to go to Walt Disney World with his kids this year.
I think most people dream dreams that they never will happen. Well, my rich dad said that the problem with dreams is reality. And the reality is you can dream of that $1 million house, but the reality is you're never going to have it. You may dream of that large yacht, but the reality is you're never going to have it. So I really encourage people to dream, but you also need a plan, a system, a way of getting there. And so if I had to do it again, I might have gone the network marketing way. It makes more sense because the system's already built for you. The attorneys have checked it out for you. They have accounting systems. Hopefully, and not all of them are legitimate. I mean, there's always good and bad network marketing companies, and be clear on that. And there's some bad people in network marketing, but there's bad people in anything. But the point here is this: for the average person, a network marketing business gives them a chance. It gives them to take control of their lives, and that's the word. If you're not in the B quadrant, you've lost control of your number one largest expense, which is taxes. The tax department tells you how much and when you pay it. If you're the B, you have some control and some dignity over that. So when I talk about what did we fight for, we fight for freedom. We also fought for the choices we have. If you have less freedom, you have less choices. And so on the B and the I side simply gives you more choices. If you have more choices, you have more freedom. And that's what this country, the United States, was founded on. And I think that's what the rest of the world wants, is that freedom to have choices. So I said there's bullies who bully you around, militarily. That's horrible. There's people who bully you around mentally and emotionally. The guy sitting next to you, why are you in a network marketing business? Well, if you let that guy bully you, then you're the loser. And the best thing about a network marketing company is if you can stay strong 5, 10 years, you will become a completely different person. And I think the most important thing is not how much money you make in network marketing, but it gives you back your control of your life, your choices, and your dignity. And I think today that is priceless.
And why do you think now, in these economic times, why do you think it's so important now